Doodlebud here, checking out these lovely Montblanc pens. Have another one that we've added to, wait, what's that? It doesn't look like the Montblanc logo because it's Majohn. It seems that Majohn likes to make affordable versions of extremely expensive Montblanc pens. And here we have another one. This is the P138. This is heavily inspired, let's say in a very nice way, by the I believe it's the 1999 Montblanc Writer's Edition of Marcel Proust. Now, some folks will say they should come up with their own designs, and need I remind you, this was one of their recent unique designs, so, be careful what you wish for. Now, all joking aside, I do find they make a pretty decent, well-built pen, even though it's meant to look like a really expensive one. You're getting decent quality for the price, and this is one of my favorites, is the Majohn A1, which is, again, heavily inspired by the Pilot Vanishing Point, and I think they did a great job on this one. So what do we got? We got what retails for, typically, I don't know, around $2,000, so for a lot of folks, that is not going to be reality ever. But here we go for, again, this was sent to me by 365 Day Stationery on their site. It's free shipping. Canadian, it's like 42, so US, maybe 32. I think that's pretty reasonable. Piston filler, hence the P in the P138. And we got some gorgeous work on here. Again, giving all props to Montblanc for their beautiful designs they do. They do some gorgeous pens. But if you can't afford that kind of clank coming out of your pocket, well, here we go. Now, as I uncap the pen, which takes 3.5 turns, don't know what is up with that. There are lots of cool nib options, so they've expanded. There's extra fine, medium. This is a 1.1 stub. It's not quite 1.1-ish, a little bit more narrow because it does have fairly narrowed shoulders, but they got some great nib options. And that's the standard price. And then if you want to upgrade, they have a hand-polished medium nib. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming that it's a medium nib that someone actually hand polishes. It's an extra, I think 20, well, that's Canadian, 20 bucks Canadian for that. And then there's also some of these specialty nibs. Where is it? Here it is. They sent one along for me. This is one of the long blade nibs. There's 3 different sizes. And as it says right here on the nib, manual grinding. And I got a few things to say about that because Manuel did not do a great job on this nib. I had to do some pretty serious work to get it to write, which is kind of weird if it's manually ground, but I'm going to go through. They also sent an extra fine, so when I do the writing sample, I'll do all the nibs and show you what's up with this one. But either way, whether this pen is for you or not, it seems they are expanding their nib options, something all of us have been wanting them to do. So I think that's a great beginning. Of course, before the video, I cleaned out a pen and I have this lovely disgusting stain. I'll give you some quick dimensions before I give you close-ups. Overall, the pen is 135 millimeters like this. Undo it, which might take a while. You are now left with 121 millimeters. It's a screw to post, and now you have 149 the cap. About 15.5 millimeters here, tapers down, about a 1 millimeter taper, so 14.5, and across the flats, the body is about 12.5 millimeters. Section starts off around 12 millimeters, tapers down a little bit to about 10.5, 10.3. A little bit shorter section, only 19 millimeters. But the good news is this grip section's super comfy. The threads are good, the transition's good. You can see no sharp edges or big step up, so it's, if you're a high grip or whatever, it's very comfortable. The pen, like the length, everything, the weight, by the way, about just shy of 35 grams, the full pen. Of that, about 12 in the cap, 23 in the body, and the ink capacity I measured at about 1.3 milliliters. Giving you a closer look, they are going back again with the signature now. To me, this first appeared when they did the Pilot, not the Pilot, Majohn A3. They put this signature on there. I didn't think it looked too great. Didn't know, I don't know, it's just, again, that's my opinion, but a lot of people didn't care for it. They brought it back for here. I think it looks better without it. But here's a good close-up of the cap. As you can see, they came up with this different logo. Actually, I think that looks kind of nice. Here's the, for comparison, there's the actual Montblanc logo. But I think that's actually a nice-looking logo they came up with. So overall, the construction's decent. Plating on here is good. The clip is nice, decent spring to it, so I got no complaints on that. The body here, again, like I showed you, the section, just the overall craftsmanship is actually pretty good. I'll show you the piston here in a minute. It is ink, so maybe I'll show you that in a little bit later, but piston is nice and smooth. Action is all good. Like I said, my only complaints really with it is the number of turns it takes to uncap it. It's a single start thread. Here's actually a quick little tip. If you want to know how many starts a thread has, you just turn it opposite and you'll hear it click. So there we go. That's the starting position, and you'll see it won't click again until I come all the way back. Single start thread. I think their P136 was either a triple start or quadruple start thread, so I'm not sure why they dropped that and went with single start on here, because it is quite a few turns. Just a little bit annoying to have that many turns with it. Again, the clip, when you secure the cap here on the back to post it, it does not line up with the nib. That would be nice. It's about 90 degrees to it. It doesn't really get in the way for me, but that's just a detail. If you're going to screw to post on any pen, if you're going to screw to post and you got a clip, you just have it so it lines up. It just really finishes things off. I want to give you some close-ups of this work here, so let me put on the macro lens. The overall work on here, I'm actually quite impressed with it. It's very well done. Again, props to Montblanc for this design. The design looks essentially identical. I saw some pictures of the real version, and it's pretty darn close. It's not quite picking up on the camera. Oh, maybe you can see it right here if I can hold steady. Just along this edge here, that rib. The plating in a few areas isn't fantastic. Yeah, it's a little bit better. You can see now. Again, for the price point, I'm not expecting it to be spot on and perfect. The Montblanc is sterling silver. So, you know, you can even polish that thing up with this one. If you go to polish it, you'll start taking away the plating. But overall, I am quite impressed with the work on this. And you could see there, I don't think that's rubbing off. I think that's just preparation prior to the plating. It just wasn't quite spot on. Since I have the lens on, let's just do a quick flyby of the overall pen so you can get a feel for it. So if any of you folks have any tiny little details that you want to see, maybe now you can see them. This is why I originally started doing the channel. In 2020 with the lockdown, I couldn't go to pen meets anymore, and I would look for reviews, and there's all these tiny details I wanted to see in reviews, because those are the things I stress about, and I couldn't find them. So I thought, well, when I do a channel, I should point out all that stuff. So here we are. Might as well show you this lemon. So this is made by Lemon. I'm not exactly sure who they are. I've seen their pens. This is my first pen. I don't have any lemon pens, but this is my first pen with a lemon nib. So I'm not exactly sure the story behind them, but that is who's doing the nib. And this is that long blade grind they had. Now, when I first got it, you can see we got a little bit of daylight between those tines. They were completely smashed together and extremely tight. It actually took a lot of work to open this one up. So I found that kind of interesting for, you know, supposed manual work. You couldn't write with this thing. But let's put pen to page. I'll start off with the stub. I'll go to this one and finish it off with the extra fine. Today's writing sample is brought to you by Graf von Faber-Castell Stone Gray. I think it's great that 365-day Stationery included a few different nibs. So that way, if you're interested in this or one of their other Majohn pens with some of these nib choices, hopefully this can help you out with that. So starting off with the stub, it's nice, it's smooth. As you can see from the line variation there, don't know we can pick up, it's not the most stubbiest stub that's ever stubbed. It's a little bit more tamer on the 1.1 millimeter claim. It's a little bit less than that, of course, but as you can see, looking at that line variation, it does give your line some nice flair to it, and it's been quite enjoyable to write with. The long blade, I'm a little confused with this one. At a standard writing angle, it's sort of in between a medium and a broad. It's very smooth. It's quite nice now that I've tuned it, because it would not write before. And you have to go very, very vertical to start having it thin down, and it only gets a little bit thicker as you drop it down. So I thought there'd be a little bit more line variation, and you really have to get at an extreme angle to really see it go down. So it seems most of the line variation is in a very short angle of the pen, and when you go quite flat, like very, very low, you don't get a huge change in it. But again, it's lovely to write with. Now that the wetness is there, it's quite nice and smooth, and the extra fine, it's a standard extra fine, good for small printing and all that type of stuff. This one I could probably do with a little touch-up. Might be out of alignment or need a touch of a polish, but the flow is good. It's just a little bit scratchier than our other ones, but again, most of the time that just takes a couple seconds to fix. My overall thoughts on the pen, I think it looks decent. Again, that credit goes to Montblanc, but for the price point, again, most people aren't going to be spending this kind of coin, or if you are, it's probably a good idea, unless you can get your hands on one and try one out, to pick one of these up anyway, sort of a try before you buy, to get an idea of the looks and the feel and the shape, and is it comfortable in your hand and all that type of stuff. And then, I mean, what's an extra $30 if you're going to spend $2,000 or $3,000? So that's a great way to do it. And for the rest of the folks out there who really like the look of some of those gorgeous Montblanc pens, but you're not going to be dropping that cash, you're not getting something of that type of quality. I hope you know that, but you aren't. If you thought you were going to get something almost as good for $30, no way. But on its own, it's a decent pen. I think the nib options is great. The piston is smooth. It looks gorgeous. Pretty comfortable. The turns, I don't understand that one. Why did they do the single start thread and make you do 3.5 turns? It's kind of silly. And then just the clip not lining up when you post it. That's not the worst. It's actually only 2.5 turns to screw the cap on, which is a little bit nicer. Don't know why they make you work harder to take the cap off. But even on the back here, actually, I think the back is a multi-start. Let's see. Got one. That's weird. Okay, so this is weird. I don't know what I did to the pen here during the review, because I've been using this pen for a while. And when I post the cap, the clip would be here on the side. But now, when I snug it down all the way, it's at the bottom, and it's really annoying. I noticed there is a flathead screw here down in the cap. You can't see it. I'm going to see if I can rotate that clip so it's not so annoying. I got out the screwdriver and tried turning that screw in there to back it off. All it does is it turns the logo. But I did, in that process, figure out what the problem is I've swapped out the nibs. So depending which nib unit you have in there, the threads could finish how it is in this orientation with the clip down there, or it could be with the nib in this orientation with the clip up there or over here. So again, that is the case for having a multi-start thread. If you did a 4-start thread or triple start thread, you could change that cap position depending where you started the engagement. But since it's single start, that is what you're left with. A fun little pen, and with a few more tweaks, it would be even a little bit more fun. Can it hold its own with the big boys over here? Absolutely not. I can only imagine what the real deal must look and feel like. But yeah, if you've been wondering about this, hopefully this video answers some questions and helps you make your decision either way. A big thank you to 365 Day Stationery for sending me this to review. Check out their site there on AliExpress. I'll have links down below while you're clicking. Thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next time.